What's poppin' people, SSJAipom here with a remastered combo reference for Teen Gohan as requested. If you'd like to see outdated videos for any other characters, they're all available on the channel and they'll be updated in the future. We're going over some easy to replicate combo strings, basic cancels, transformation details, and a recommended preset for competitive play for picking up the character in question. If any of my friends have done extensive guides for picking up the character, hang around until the very end for a link to their video. Teen Gohan is a character that you will not see often in competitive outings. This is yet another character who is underrated for the reasoning that he doesn't hit hard, which in a sense is like a half-truth. I say this because he actually has potential to do great things in the right hands, much like a majority of the other characters on the cast. But picking up Teen Gohan is definitely a commitment though, because he doesn't have the frame data like Hitter or Goku either. So without much in the toolkit department of like frame data or basic attack combo damage, what could possibly be his saving grace? Teen Gohan seems to be built much like Vegeta, where his damage seems to be sealed behind his supers and his ultimate attacks. In fact, I'm pretty sure Father-Son Kamehameha hits for a little over 10,000 damage by itself. This is one important feature for this character because learning how and when to use his supers and ultimates to get the highest damage out of your no-break combos is pretty much key for making sure you chunk your opponent down and your fights don't drag on too much, because fatigue is a thing that can actually wear you down and you'll perform a little bit worse as the fights go on. Teen Gohan of course has access to dash and guard cancels, which are perfect tools for baiting enemy snap vanishes. A reliable recipe for getting a fight done as soon as possible with Teen Gohan will most likely require like 6 or so bars of ki, if not a high damaging loop into one of his supers or ultimates. This means getting that damage after a stamina break off when you have all the ki you need is pretty much key, no pun intended, for finishing things and not letting the match go on and letting Goku and the rest of the Earth down. Preference of course should be your deciding factor, but for me it's a no contest which preset to use. Preset 2 has much higher stats by comparison and a moveset with more options and synergy than the first one. His combo strings do work well with Preset 2's supers as well, so that is an immediate plus for me. We already spoke about Masenko in Kid Gohan's mentor video, but Super Dragon Flight is just as nice in terms of utility and how it can be used with the character's synergy. For sure. This is a skill that you can combo into after warps, and it even lets you cancel out of it with other supers or into itself again. At the ceiling you can make this thing a nasty loop to do some very nice damage. It hits for about 2,000 per use, which is a fifth of a health bar. So much like Yamcha's Ki Blast Thrust, this is definitely something you can use to get some very good damage in. And Evil Whirlwind is a nice pseudo counterattack, and it can be activated when you're blocking. It's fairly telegraphed, but if your opponent is button mashing you can definitely knock them away from you for a nice breather. Gohan can perform a loop if you tap forward after his flurry of punches that you see in his combo strings often, but its timing is really particular. It's something that you can time to get perfect, but for practical use in combat it isn't necessarily needed, but it's definitely something to look out for. If you do like his combo strings though, preset 1 is fine, but you lose access to some synergy in place of utility. Meteor Strike becomes another dash cancel for you, for example, and After Image becomes a counter in place of Evil Whirlwind. You're sacrificing damage and tools in the hopes of having more counter-based and analytical play. But if it's what you're into, if you like to play the game a little bit slower and you like for matches to drag on a bit longer, it's definitely something you can go for. Super Saiyan 2 is Gohan's only transformation, and it's weird to say that because in his base form in the game he's already a Super Saiyan, so it's kind of like, what? But his transformation give him all the standard boosts of a Super Saiyan, where his charge attacks teleport him a short distance, and his assisted combat range is actually boosted a little bit. The rough values of the exact boost will be listed on screen if they haven't passed already, so when you reach the transformation segment you'll see Gohan doing stuff in Super Saiyan 2. And if finishing the fight is definitely what your goal is, Super Saiyan is always an option, but don't let it be the reason why you throw a match away because you're trying so hard to get to Super Saiyan 2, you know? Like, you don't need it to actually win. If you wanted to know though, the second preset Super Soul triggers when your enemy is somehow revived on the enemy team. You gain automatic ki recovery and a boost of damage to your Ki Blast supers. This is kinda neat, and on his first preset, his soul actually lowers all of his stats, and if an ally dies, you gain a large boost to all of the stats. He definitely seems to be all around built like a team player with like super souls on, so in a 2v2 or 3v3 scenario based on your partners or who you're fighting against, picking a preset might be all based on what you think will go down in the fight more so, you know? So you have a couple of psychological things you could put into using Gohan in terms of preference. Again, that's like the key word for these characters. If you're gonna pick up something like Gohan, preference, you know, what do you think will work for you? I think in competitive, preset 2 is definitely the one to go for, but maybe some people want to slow it down and make the fights take a little bit longer than they need to. But if they haven't played yet, there will be some combos in the Gohan supers on the second preset, And you should know that this is a character that can actually combo into his ultimates for free outside of stamina breaks in certain conditions. You can even use Father-Son Kamehameha into Kamehameha, not Kamehameha, into Super Kamehameha. I'm saying that a lot now. If your opponent is still stamina broken by the time you're done with it, please do not try to use Father-Son Kamehameha outside of a stamina break. It is very, very easy to get punished with this. It takes a year to do. Go for a heavy stamina break, go for this thing to wipe the floor with your enemy as the safest way, you know? And I should say, if your opponent somehow isn't paying attention to you, or they are and they kind of freeze up, Father-Son Kamehameha can't be blocked, and it becomes an instant kill if your opponent tries to block it at all. It's very interesting stuff, and I probably won't be able to cover it anywhere else. So if you are wondering what kind of neat dankness is behind the Father-Son Kamehameha, it's an instant kill if your opponent tries to block it, which is just wonderful. Xenoverse 2, am I right? But triangle square can combo into Super Kamehameha and Full Power Energy Wave respectively. These are like one frame links though, so it means the timing is very precise. Long story short, if you're gonna go for this thing, you gotta practice it over and over and over again. But triangle square into Super Kamehameha does actually work, and you can do it for free outside of a stamina break. So if your opponent tries to tank your hits, you can definitely hit them in the face with a move that's going to do well over like 5,000 damage with Super Kamehameha on Gohan, which is just absolutely incredible. It's lovely. It's definitely a nice punch to the chest. I'll be leaving you with any remaining footage in this video and letting you know that Bardock is the very next character that we'll revisit in the series. But I'd like to know from you, who is the character that you would like to see after Bardock? We'll be doing the series based on requests, so first come, first serve, or if you agree with a request from someone else that has already commented it, just like their comment and I'll be sure to swoop in like, hey, we can do that. But as you can see, this is anything left with Gohan is going to be here. So the end screen of this video will show relevant Teen Gohan based tips or guides, and I'll be seeing you all in the very next video. Take care of yourselves, guys.